The SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritize customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
Netflix is a Joke Radio brings you exclusive comedy specials and stand-up from Netflix's massive library from the world's biggest comedians.
He's Mick Jagger. I pitched him a joke and he went, "Not funny!"
We give you unparalleled access to Netflix's top premieres. And Wake Up with Tom Papa and Fortune Feaster.
What a joke.
What a joke. More of us, more comedy.
To hear Netflix is a Joke Radio, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/go.
Did you know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SiriusXM app filled with ad-free music made for everything you do? Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. Let's see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 0181486.
Coaches, why? People already have what they need to succeed. They just need some tweaking. They need some skills or some insights. They need someone at the right moment to get them look at something in a different way so they get the answer they need. That's what I do. I help people create breakthroughs. I'm here to invite you and give you an opportunity to test out coaching at no charge to you and no risk. Because time is the most valuable thing you and I have, right? If we can get you faster to what it is you really want, if we can get out of the obstacles and move forward and get the results you want quicker, faster, and it's something you do in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, twice or 3 times in a month, and it's on your time. So here's what I want to offer you. If you'd like to test out one of my top coaches, we will give you a 30-minute free coaching session. And it's on
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe, and that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! You know, I was taking some Tony Robbins coaching. In fact, I have a coaching session coming up tomorrow, and he told me some things that actually came true. I started listening to Tony Robbins about 2 decades ago, and ironically, that's how Big C Sports came to pass. I started doing the show before I even had a show. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit you where the good Lord split you. If that makes sense to you, and hopefully the good Lord didn't split you too wide, if that makes sense to you. I want to say what I love about doing today's show. You know, anyone who knows the Big C Sports, they know that I love talking about reparations. They know that I love talking about sports and all the things that people really love in life. And that's what I do with a passion and it means so much to me that I actually have the chance to do it. Going on 8 years now. On 8 years, give that some praise. Doing 8 years of anything is a long time. I'm so grateful to God for things that I'm able to do with Big C Sports Podcast. But what I want to say, what I do with the show, a little bit different from other programs. I always, number one, I produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. And I'm telling you, I deal with all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. I know I can use more laughter. The commercials are done. The stats are provided. I even do the storytelling. And then I do the play-by-play. Jason Tatum for 3. Yes! Hit the hole in your life. Bang! Can you believe the Boston Celtics, those good old boys, are doing their thing? And I'm going to have, in my own opinion, either Boston or New York will get to the Eastern Conference Finals and win it. And that's just the feeling I have. I know that so many people have their thoughts about who's going to win what. Indiana at New York last night. And then you have Boston taking on Cleveland. This is not for you, Cleveland. At the same time, in the Western Conference, I was shocked. The Atlantic strike. The good old boys from Minnesota, the Timberwolves, man, they put a whooping on the defending NBA champion, the Denver Nuggets. I never would have thought that would happen, even though Jamal Murray has a hitch in his giddy up. And it just seems like the big cat, those guys are great. They're young, but they're great. You ever remember being young and great? Well, that's what the good old boys of Minnesota have. All friend, love, and word. But I get into that, and then the series that I want to see is the Dallas Mavericks. They will take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Thunder are good, too. But I love doing that with Big C Sports Podcast. I always upload the show to 29 podcast platforms all over the universe. And streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. And then, not only that, I love the fact that I never missed a show doing Big C Sports Podcast. Doing joy, pain, sunshine, and rain. I never missed a show, and I love doing that. That's one of the things I'm really proud of about Big C Sports Podcast. And another thing that I love doing is a PSA. And everybody has their own feelings about this, but I love giving homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline because they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. Oftentimes we say thank you to our veterans for their service, but they need more than thank you. And that's what I love about the Veterans Crisis Hotline. If you know anybody going through issues, just pick up the phone and give them the number, 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give them some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. And it's nice when you're leaning on somebody and somebody's leaning back. That's what I love about the Veterans Crisis Hotline. I know mine is a terrible thing anyways. But I also got to tell you, sometimes when you do things, they say the dirt will come out in the wash. I'm doing things that I love about sports. Talked about Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. I'm going to do that today. But I also have a thing that's really near and dear to my heart. And sometimes I make a mistake. And sometimes I don't make a mistake. But I'm doing a commercial. And unlike most commercials that are done, people go into a studio and they have 29 takes. I don't do it that way. If I make a mistake, you hear my mistakes. If I don't make a mistake, then you don't hear my mistakes either. But I got a guide that I want to read out to you, a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth with RDC Resource Development Consulting, Inc., in conjunction with the law offices of Scott Thibodeau and attorney George Jones. Really do appreciate that. The Missing Link, Long-Term Care, Solutions by the Book, over 3 decades of experience, helping seniors get their benefits, Medicare and You, taking care of tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal. Other places it's called Medicaid. Now with my commercial, people say, well, Big C, why would we listen to you and the RDC, the Big C team? I'm glad you asked, because as I tell you, your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options. I promise to you to specialize, to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets. Like the duck. Aflac? No, Aflac the duck. That's Gap Insurance. We protect your assets. Isn't that the same thing? No, it's not. Protection of your assets without the spend down. Aflac doesn't help you avoid the spend down, but the RDC team can. All paperwork and communications with all government agencies are handled by our staff of entitlement specialists, ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescriptions, medical equipment costs, and more. Do you know anyone that's ever dealt with skilled nursing facilities? Do you know anyone who's ever dealt with prescription medications? Do you know anyone who's ever dealt with medical equipment costs and more? Not only that, protection of your assets. Is that Aflac? No, Aflac the duck. That's gap insurance. We protect your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program called probate. They love when you don't have your assets protected. In fact, a lot of people, they don't even think they need a will, and they don't think they need a trust. And you know who loves that? Probate. They love when you don't have your assets protected. And that's what we do with RDC. A duck cannot protect your assets. That's why a lot of times a duck will end up on the menu, and we order duck from the menu, if that makes sense. It's a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance for the rest of your life. Not only that, I'm going to tell you why the RDC team with the big CT. Protection, insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal, planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning and avoid the look-back period. What about fixed assets, Big C? Well, I'm glad you asked. Your bank account, your checking account, your savings account, money market account, certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, fixed index annuities, and that's not all. Variable assets, real estate, qualified money, IRA, 401k, other investments, over 3 decades of experience. Attention business owners, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. Oh, my insurance covers everything, Big C. That's not true. Well, how do we find out? 800-273-8624, 800-273-8624. That's 800-273-8624. When you do, you want to give it some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. And I love doing that when I say we all need somebody to lean on. Yeah, but who's your endorsement, Big C? Why would we trust you? Well, I'm glad you asked, because the RDC team, we have the endorsements of Attorney Scott Thibodeau. We have the endorsements of Mr. George Jones, Esquire, Chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, also California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation, Mr. Leon Woods, Resource Development Consultant. We have the endorsement of Ms. Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. And not only that, we have Mr. Ray De La Cruz, the CEO of Resource Development Consultant. For over 3 decades, he had the endorsement of CalPERS, former top legal mind, the late Robert Colson. He endorsed the Big C team and the RDC team. Also, Mr. Alex De La Cruz, he's the president of American Veterans Benefits. If that's that, not only that, we have Big C, also part of the National Black Wall Street Project, co-chair in Northern California. And not only that, we have Double O, co-chair. She's the payout committee of the National Black Wall Street Project. Has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. And everybody loves to eat. Give that some praise. I say give it praise, praise, praise. I love doing that, and I'm really, really happy about that. I have a special guest that I'm going to bring on the show today, because everybody, every now and then, you have a guest. And you tell your guests you're welcome in our house. But these guests, not only are they welcome in our house, they're trying to make sure we have everything we need. It's called Reparations. And I'm going to get into it. I just want to give them all praise. And I think I'm the only sports show in the universe that will do it every time. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I don't care what people think about whether you should or should not do something. I think if we either lead, follow, or get out of the way, that's my motto. I want to give praise to the chair members. I met every single one of them. Attorney Camila Moore, she's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Amos C. Brown, the vice chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. He's also appeared on the Big C Sports podcast. I want to give praise to California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I've met with him many times in his office and also at Reparations Task Force. I want to give praise to Council Member Monica Montgomery Steppe. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I want to love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I'm going to give praise to Attorney Donald K. Tamaki. He's part of the California Reparations Task Force. He's brilliant, and I love giving him praise. Give him praise, praise, praise. I love giving him praise, and you can too. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I told you, I have a special guest coming up, and I just met this gentleman over the phone just about a week ago, and his name is Marvell Wilson. He has a blog talk program that he does nationwide. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, I'm going to bring him on. You don't want to miss it. Big C Sports Podcast. All right, I'm back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe, and streaming on 4 TV applications: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, and Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. I have a wonderful guest. I've never met him in person, but I have met him over the phone. He actually has a blog talk radio program that goes nationwide. His name is Marvell Wilson, and he was born in November 13, 1953, raised in Cleveland, Ohio's inner city, survived drug addiction and underworld lifestyle and its consequences of jail and penitentiaries all the way to the year 2000. And since then, he just had a turnaround. He's been an officer in several nonprofit organizations, and those organizations have been rooted in anti-drug awareness, improving group consciousness, and advocating for what I say, reparations now, reparations forever. That's what I do with Big C Sports Podcast. But also currently, he hosts an after-school program as well as weekday blog talk radio program, and that's actually how I met Mr. Marvell Wilson. This is Big C Sports. Marvell, how you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing quite well, brother. How about yourself?
I feel blessed and highly favored, feel anointed, very, very grateful. Before I get into some things that I want to talk to you about, if you don't mind, travel is something else. Because when I talked to you last night, you were actually trying to get on an airplane, and you had some things that happened where you could not get on the airplane, and now you're not in Cleveland, you're still in California. That makes sense to you?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that it happened, but it makes sense that we're talking right now.
It makes sense that we're talking right now. I really do appreciate that. Well, again, talking to the great Marvell Wilson, tell us about your blog talk radio program, how you got started in it, and is this growing like leaps and bounds? Your thoughts?
Well, when we first, it's been going on for 11 years. Tim Pool, the contract holder, has been for years.
Yes.
Just in the last 6 to 7 months.
Okay.
We've looked at it from a different perspective, and we've decided to stop doing just music and partial conversations to starting out with conversations, intermingling music as appropriate, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
what we found is that with our group having so many challenges in working together, we focused on issues that exist that makes it difficult for us to work together as a group. And then when reparations became on the horizon, then we started recognizing that it's not only important for us to look for reparations from somewhere else, but we should also look for reparations within our group and in ourselves.
Yes.
So we start dealing with many issues that have to do with our repair internally, spiritually, and emotionally, and mentally.
And mentally. That's very wonderful, talking to the great Marvell Wilson, who runs Blog Talk Radio, also works with nonprofits. And what I'm really impressed with is he has these after-school programs, and it's about helping other people. We talked earlier, Marvell, about some things that are important to you, and we're going to talk about sports and reparations. I learned some things from you today that I did not know about, so I'm going to be doing more research on it. But there's an attorney that you told me about. Her name is Deidre, I think, Farmer, and then Perlman. Did I say the name right? Can you hear me, Marvell? Maybe having just a little bit of problem with the cell phone. Marvell, if you can hear me, just go ahead and tap in. But you had told me about this attorney called Deidre, Farmer Perlman, and we have to talk with her about how people can get together and understand that reparations is something else. I'm going to get him back on the phone in just a minute. All right, we are back. Had a little bit of static, as sometimes that happens when you're doing live shows, but I was talking to the great Marvell Wilson, does blog talk also with Tim Pool, about 11 years now. But I had mentioned to you attorney, Deidre Farmer-Pillman, I believe, and she's a corporate lawyer. And how did you hear about her? Was it from Money Griff also? Your thoughts?
Yes, it was. I heard about her, just personally before, but he pinpointed and said, make sure that I pay attention to a video that she did that talks about not just reparations in its essence, but also talks about corporations that were responsible for not only the theft of our people during slavery, but also responsible for maintaining slavery after the emancipation, and that they should be considered liable, and we should litigate with them to stand in the gap to represent that portion of reparations as well.
That's wonderful. Talking to Marvell Wilson, Blog Talk Radio. This is Big C Sports Podcast, and he does a show with Tim Pool throughout the week. And I talked to you earlier, and I'm going to do some more research on that lawyer. I think she's done some great work. But you said some things that are important to you when I was asking you, Marvell, what is your mission? You talked about stimulating the consciousness and healing people. Can you expound on that, please?
Okay, well, if we look at the dossier, we'll see that we have to be among, if not the most traumatized group of people in this country. And as a result of trauma, there are some offsprings. There's some things that some implants and some illnesses, social, emotional, and spiritual and mental illnesses that accumulate as a result of this trauma. And so what we're understanding is one thing most important that I put emphasis on is that we have a anger energy that is most accessible to us, right?
Wow.
It's like it's one of those things where it doesn't take much to surge it, but once it's on, it's an entity in itself. And a lot of times our anger precedes our ability to rationalize. A lot of times anger, although rightfully so that we should have it, it's not managed and it's not funneled and it's not categorized to keep it from overblowing and overwhelming a situation where now that we've acted out on our anger, we got to do our best thinking now to reconcile what we've done out of an unthinking emotional situation. So we put a lot of emphasis on that. We bring out the things that we have observed, that we experience as far as trust with each other, as far as our ability to relate to each other, because one of my philosophies is that if you are one of my group and you don't look at another member and you don't see relativity, if you don't have an affinity for that person based upon our like history and our like experience, if you say you love yourself, then I have to question you. And how can you love yourself if you can love someone who looks like you, that experienced the things you experienced, and have the challenges that you have in your experience? How could you say that?
Very well said. Talking to Marvell Wilson, Blog Talk. When can people hear your Blog Talk radio program that you do weekly? What time can they hear it all over the world and all over the country, especially in California?
Well, worldwide, out of the Pacific, it's going to be varied times. So usually here in Pacific time, it's 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. every weekday morning. And then as we go across the globe, the other night we were talking to a brother in Singapore, and he was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Right? So we don't really know how to monitor the time. But say, for instance, in Ohio or in New York, it airs from noon to 2 o'clock.
Okay, wonderful.
Eastern time.
Wonderful. Is there a phone number that people can call in, or a way they can log on and find out how to find you when you're on the air, you and Tim Pool and your guest?
It's a very simple process. It's similar to you and yours. It's a phone number. You dial the phone number 515-605-9861, and you will be introduced to the broadcast.
That's wonderful.
515-605-9861. one.
Well, I'm telling you, I was invited on by Reverend Sonia Pierce, the president and CEO of the National Black Wall Street Project.com. Really do appreciate what you guys are talking about. There's another thing that I is spoken with you about too, Mr. Wilson, talking to Marvell Wilson. He has a blog talk program. You talked about you want to plant the spirit of unity in our people and men and women accountable for projects and help the youth know their rights. Can you talk about that in more detail, please?
Okay, well, see, I think that we're working on the chronology. The chronology is, first of all, for us to be aware of the circumstances that has thrust us into where we are emotionally, spiritually, and start churning and start stirring up those blockages and remedying those, so that we can start looking at the truth in the power of our unity and be relaxed in that, so that we can develop the trust in that allows us to go forth and have an influence on our young people and the way their value system is designed right now.
Yes.
Because right now we don't have the ability to influence them for their next decision.
Yeah.
What has influence with them is technology.
Yes.
Technology has taken the place of our ability to be able to influence them. So until we develop the trust system that makes us attractive to them, and makes them want to aspire to the way we live, the way we treat each other, it's not likely that we're going to be able to influence them.
Well, you know, I think that's very powerful also. Talking to great Marvell, he's also with Blog Talk Radio, and he has this great way of connecting that I really appreciate, and that's why I have you on the program. I want to get into a few more topics before we run. You talked about understanding that we are creators and that we are manifestors and that we have our God-given talents. And we talked earlier that you and I, we agree or disagree on different things. But, for example, reparations is a worldwide topic. I mean, Thomas Jefferson owned 600 slaves. Wall Street was built on the back of black bodies. When New York was established, 25% of the population, they were chattel slavery. When they started with Wall Street, black bodies were traded as a commodity on Wall Street. People don't even think about that. So we have the New York Knicks playing NBA basketball. All of our Hollywood elite, the New York stars, not name dropping or saying anything about anyone's name, but we as black men and women, we rush to see the New York Knicks play basketball. Or here in Sacramento, the Sacramento Kings, or in the Bay Area, the Golden State Warriors, in LA, the Los Angeles Lakers. The NBA is about 83% African American, and in fact, the NFLPA, they own about 53% of the league, the power structure. And what is it about us as beautiful, intelligent black men that we know that reparations is coming out of the mouths of California Governor Gavin Newsom? We don't hear anything from our athletes. In New York City, the governor, Kathy Hochul, she talked about reparations for descendants of chattel slavery. But when people go to New York, it's in the same state, same city. Why are we so quiet when it comes to that, Marvell?
Well, I dare to say that, you know, there's an inner fear that is experienced not only with our people, but with other groups, or the enslavement groups, of what's going to happen once we reach a certain pinnacle of our ability to be autonomous in this country, right? I think that there's a silence because nobody wants a target on their back.
Right.
Nobody wants to be that pariah that once that system gets a hold to you and targets you, they'll have you locked up like they did Wesley Snipes, like they did Mike Tyson, like they did Michael Vick, and they'll vilify you and they'll discredit you in order to protect a position that they have a fear that we might assume, right? So
wow.
I understand their apprehension.
Yes.
It's from the offset. But once we get a groundswell, and once we get someone as courageous as Kathy Hochul to be a spokesperson for what's right, because see, we're experiencing our experiences is far more unique than anyone else. Meaning that when the Constitution was written, It had nothing to do with us other than we were going to be the ones to make the Constitution possible and make all of the guidelines possible because our labor was dependent upon to build the empire.
Wow.
So we were considered to be less than, and here's what I want to point out to you. This is my theory.
Yeah.
My theory is the reason why we experience so much resistance coming from other groups, as in one group in particular, the slave heritage group, is because they have convinced themselves and convinced their lineage that we are less than human, so that justifies their ability and their willingness to claim dominion over us, right? Like the Bible says that man was given dominion over all lower animals.
Yeah.
Well, they have classified us as lower 3/5 of humans, so that gives them the justification in their ideology that we are less than, and therefore they have dominion over us, right?
Yeah.
So reparations is an effort to say that, okay, we acknowledge not only that you are human, but you have been human all the time, and that we have to stop and acknowledge that. Matter of fact, sometimes you seem to be superhuman because the stuff that you do, we can't do.
Now you're preaching.
Right?
Now you're preaching.
That's the kind of chasm that we find ourselves in, trying moving to convince people to look at this seriously. It's an eyesore, earsore situation because there's fear involved in it. But what I say on my program all the time is that faint not, have no fear.
Yes.
We come in peace, and we come not in retaliation or retribution. We come to be full, because when we were less than full in your eyesight, we still were stellar, and we were presented excellent in everything we did.
And everything we did.
And everything we did.
Yeah.
And everything we're doing now, we are demonstrating the excellence. Now, all we're saying is, given the equity for us to bloom and perform, we will make this country the greatest country in the world, and you don't have to fear that we're going to try to take over. We're going to corroborate, and we're going to collaborate, and we're going to really make this country great.
Marvell, that's very well said. When we look at it, how African Americans in this country, we've been able to do everything that anyone can do with resistance that other groups haven't had to do when they came here, give us your poor, the Statue of Liberty. Well, our ancestry came here, even though we've been all over the world. Black people have been everywhere in this world. But at the same time, the way the United States was formed, it did it on a lot of free labor. I want to ask your thoughts before we close. Again, talking to Marvell Wilson, has a blog talk radio show that goes around the whole world and coming out of Northern California. You know, in the black diaspora, growing up, it was always the church was the citadel. That's what people used to bring families together, to bring groups together, business, the clergy, rich and poor, no matter what it was, the church was kind of like that meeting ground that people would use. They have the 501c3 status, so maybe they're less likely to go and talk about reparations. But I want to get your thoughts on this, because we celebrate what they call MLK Day for NBA basketball. In the NFL, Marvell, and I know you're probably a big Cleveland Brown fan, at the end of every end zone, it says, "End racism." So I applaud Roger Goodell for that. And I think the NBA has those own equality matters, etc. Major League Baseball, maybe not as much. They have a Jackie Robinson Day. But when it comes to the African-American athlete, where it has happened for the athlete that hasn't happened for the businessman or the broadcaster, is in every sport that we've been allowed to participate, whether it's Tiger Woods in golf, TV ratings off the chart, NFL football with the integration of African-Americans, ratings off the chart, Major League Baseball, when Jackie Robinson helped integrate baseball, ratings off the chart, and we know NBA basketball, since they integrated that, ratings off the chart. If we could get that same...
Boxing?
Yeah.
Boxing?
Boxing, of course, the great Muhammad Ali. Obviously, when you talked about him, he's the greatest. Do you see in the last few minutes where the church, like when I grew up as a young boy, and athletics can maybe do what we did to end apartheid in South Africa? They could let the mainstream know that we are all one. We're just trying to ask you to repair what was wrong in the past. Just like if your house is broken into, you're going to call law enforcement, you're going to call your insurance company, you're going to make a claim to repair. And I think that's what we have. but sometimes people don't see that. Can the church and athletes work together to maybe make it more easy for mainstream to assimilate? Does that make sense to you?
I can see it a little clearer when you say the church first.
Yes.
When you say the church first, and then let it trickle into the athletic consciousness.
Yes.
I think that's the method of when we have churches, because most of these athletes have some background or have some foreground.
Yeah, exactly.
With some sort of religious or spiritual connection, and all they would really require is a little goading and a little influence coming from that body to urge them to participate in something that, if that surge starts building,
yes,
it would be only in keeping
yes,
that they complement their energy with the energy coming from that body.
Well,
so I would say we're working with churches now.
Yes.
We're developing a presentation to churches now.
That's wonderful.
To get them to maybe look beyond or see farther than the 501c3 limitation.
Yes.
And recognize, again, that our unique situation requires some very unique approaches.
Yes. Well, this is Big C Sports. Charlton Curry talking to Marvell Wilson. He has his own blog talk that he does with Tim Pool for over a decade now. In closing, in about 30 seconds, Marvell, I want to say I thank you for your time. I look forward to collaborating with you more, not only on reparations, but what you do, mentorship and trying to help the youth understand how to prosper. Is there one shining moment that you would like to close with, a clarion call? As we come up on the election, there's a lot of times where the black vote is sought after like gold. Any thoughts you'd like to have to encourage our young people to get more involved in what happens when it comes to voting? Your thoughts?
Right. Well, we're launching another campaign that we're looking for who's going to be the spokesperson for reparations.
Yes.
And that spokesperson will get favor. However, if we don't hear people speaking out against it, we have another T-shirt. I told you about one T-shirt. We have preparations for another T-shirt that simply says, reparation, no vote.
Powerful, powerful. No reparations, no vote. And people say, what are you talking about? But I think it has its own message. I want to say, Marvell Wilson, I do appreciate you being on Big C Sports Podcast. We will definitely talk more down the road. And I thank you and I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.
Well, thank you, sir, and I appreciate you, and I want you to do the same. And your listening audience, I think that they're benefiting from having someone who is innovative as you, creative as you, and you stimulate the atmosphere to very clearly insert very good, powerful information. Well done.
Well, I appreciate you with that. This is Big C Sports Podcast coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Podcast. I'm going to take what's called the Big C Pause, and I'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe. And streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Just had the pleasure of talking to the great Marvell Wilson, and he works with Tim Pool. They do a podcast on Blog Talk Radio, and it happens Monday through Friday. I just wanted to say thank you for that. And before I get into Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings, and I'm hoping that Major League Baseball will take up the same, what I would say, seminal moment in history to do what New York Governor Kathy Hochul's done. You know, the Major League Baseball, their headquarters are in New York City. And that's the same state with Governor Kathy Hochul that talked about a reparations task force at the end of last year, piggybacking what California Governor Gavin Newsom's done. But here's a white conservative talk show host talking about Martin Luther King and reparations.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, you know, ending welfare as we know it, to, you know, all those kind of things are somehow, you know, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America, and it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the complete, and didn't just steal it. I mean, murdered them, he murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. It's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
In your life, get the hole. I love talking about reparations, and I will always do it. All right, I'm back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. As I say, you can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do love talking about Big C Sports Podcast, reparations. I love it all. It's all important to me. I love it. It's amazing. I'm going to get into Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. But before I do that, I also want to touch base on the NBA. Who would have thought that Denver would be such a tough spot right now against some young players from Minnesota? Last night, I was shocked. We got number 2 Denver, the number 2 seed Denver, the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets, taking on the number 3 Minnesota Timberwolves. They're a young team. Game 1, Minnesota 106, Denver 99. Game 2, Minnesota 106, Denver 80. In your life, purple rain. Isn't that something? I had no idea that would happen to Denver, but it's only 2 games. But this series might go, if they can get 1 game in Minnesota, they have a chance. But Minnesota looks like they're just better and stronger, and Minnesota has they just got that power, that energy that young people have. Also tonight, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. Those Thunder boys taking on the number 5 seed Dallas Mavericks. And it's a 9:30 tip-off Eastern time on TNT. I was looking at Dallas to win that series, but I was wrong about Minnesota and Denver. But I think, if anything, OKC, they got to get past a Dallas team that has some experience, and we'll see if that happens tonight. Last night, when you think about basketball, we had the New York Knickerbockers, the number 2 seed, taking on the number 6 seed Indiana Pacers. Game 1, the New York Knicks 121, Indiana Pacers 117. There was no Reggie Miller coming out to knock down big-time baskets against the New York Knicks last night at Madison Square Garden. I have the Knicks winning that series anyway, but I didn't know if they win it that easily. That's just my opinion. All's fair and level. I don't have a dog in the fight. 800 Gambler if you do, 800 Gambler if you do. We got the Boston Celtics, the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, taking on the number 4 seed Cleveland. It's not for you, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics today. and on TNT game tip-off at 7 o'clock Eastern time. And to me, it looks like Havlicek inbounds to Russell. Russell throws over to Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge over to Larry Bird. Larry Bird to Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum for 3. Yeah! Get the hole in your life! I think Boston will finally do what a lot of people have called them to do this year. They're getting back to the Eastern Conference Championship. That's just my opinion. Unless there's a big upset. And last I checked, Reggie Miller, he retired a long time ago. And he's not coming in to knock down some jump shots. But that's NBA basketball for you. It's such a great game. And I love seeing how people compete for a championship. There's no Steph Curry in the Golden State Warriors. There's no LeBron James in the LA Lakers. We don't have a Kevin Durant in the Phoenix Suns, and a lot of people thought those guys would be there. And there's no Joel Embiid in the Philadelphia 76ers. So we have some nouveau riche teams. When you look at Minnesota, you look at OKC, even the Dallas Mavericks haven't won a championship since 2011, but they're in deep, and some deep waters taking on the OKC Thunder and St. Jonas Alexander. We will see who wins that power struggle, if that makes sense to you. But I think Boston, they're in the prime position to do what we thought they'd do, and that's get back to the Eastern Conference Championship. But you play to win the game. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I tell you, everybody has their own thoughts, and I like Major League Baseball. They say that America's about baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Big C Sports. Runners on first and third. The count's for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. Everybody loves Major League Baseball, even though I gotta tell you, in my own opinion, Major League Baseball has taken a back seat and set the bench when it comes to competing against NBA basketball and especially NFL football. But it is a great game if you love playing the game, and that's why I love giving out Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings, as I want every team in Major League Baseball. I know they're trying to steal the Oakland A's from the Bay Area, and the same way the Raiders were stolen from the Bay Area. They went to LA back in the 90s, and then they came back, and then they got stolen again. And they went to Las Vegas. They're playing at beautiful Allegiant Stadium. And now the Oakland A's are trying to go to Las Vegas by way of Sacramento. But I don't know if that's going to happen. They're having some problems putting together money down in Vegas. If that makes sense to you. Putting together problems putting together money in Vegas? Yeah, not everybody in Vegas has money, even though you might think they do. But be that as it may, Big C's number 10 rankings in Major League Baseball power rankings. I have the Texas Rangers, the great Corey Seager. He's batting .230. Several other players are capable of even better batting averages than they've shown so far, yet they are still 10th in runs and 11th in the majors in OPS while sitting above 500. That's number 10 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Runners on first and third. The counts for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep, especially in the Pacific Northwest. The Seattle Mariners, they've won 13 of their last 18 games, and the rotation, it deserves so much more praise, and there are 2 or 3 potential all-stars in there. Batting out of the great Pacific Northwest, obviously you think about the Seattle Seahawks for football. They've done everything. Also, since the Supersonics left, now we have the Mariners are starting to play some good baseball to give people a chance to come out and watch them swing the bats, if that makes sense to you. I have them number 9. Number 8 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. I have runners on first and third. They counts for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. I got the Milwaukee Brewers. Not only do the Brewers, they average more than 1 home run and 1 stolen base per game, they have the 7 different players with multiple homers and steals so far this season. The Brew Crew, you got to look out for them. They're right now at Big C's, number 8 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Number 7 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. Runners on first and third. They counts for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. They love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. In Chicago, the Windy City, the Cubs, they faced a banged-up offense and a terrible bullpen, and the ace being injured. Several members of the rotation deserve major praise for stepping up for the good old boys where they take me out to the ball game, take me out to the crowd, the late great Harry Carey. That I got them number 7 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I just hope they champion reparations the same way I do. May lightning strike if they don't champion reparations. Can you imagine if everybody that loves sports and seen the home run, if they hit a home run and doing the right thing, which is what President Abraham Lincoln asked us to do a long time ago, and that's for reparations. Don't be afraid. Just do like the great Marvell Wilson is talking about. Do the right thing. There should never be a problem in doing the right thing. But that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, now back to Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. I got to tell you, runners on first and third. The count's full. The pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Center field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. You got the New York Yankees Big C's number 16 in baseball's Major League power rankings. Kudos to the Yankees. The Yankees win. The Yankees win. The Yankees bouncing back after that humble series in Baltimore to sweep the Tigers, and they are happy with being the second best team in their division. We will see, but you got to have the good old boys in pinstripes. When they swing the bats, people come around and they watch the Yankees. It's always great when New York has the Giants or the Jets in the playoffs, when they have the Rangers or the Islanders, and when they have the New York Knicks. But don't forget about the Yankees or the Mets. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Number 5 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. Runners on first and third. The count's full. The pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. Got the Cleveland. This is for you. The Guardians. They lost 4-7, but that does not seem like they're going anywhere soon. They have a fun week on tap with the Tigers, an opportunity to show them who's boss in the AL Central. And the White Sox obviously have an opportunity to kind of get some easy wins too, if that makes sense to you. But the Guardians doing their thing in Cleveland. Obviously the Cavaliers trying to do their thing in the NBA basketball playoffs. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now people they might say, Big C, you out of your mind. In my opinion, I got number 4 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. Runners on first and third. They count for the pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. The girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep down in Stone Mountain, Georgia. When you think about the Atlanta Braves, I have the number 4. The Braves, the biggest deficit in the National League East last season was a half a game, and that was when they were 2-1. But May 6th, they had a 6-game lead. And this time around, they trailed the Philadelphia Phillies by 2.5 games. But down in Stone Mountain, Georgia, you know they're going to be hitting the bat soon because that's just the way they do it down in Stone Mountain, Georgia. I got number 3 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. It's my opinion, and it is my opinion that counts on my rankings. Runners on first and third. That counts for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. Got the Philadelphia Phillies. It's kind of too early right now, but I have the Phillies and the Orioles close, and I'm going to go with the strength of schedule as a tiebreaker. The Phillies are only 3-3 against teams above 500, but they still know how to swing the bat, and the fact that they've been there before, I got to put them there at number 3. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I got number 2 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. Runners on first and third. They count for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love it saying the girls love the long ball. Men love to hit deep. I got the Baltimore Orioles at number 2. They've gone 11-4 away from home so far. With what a rush that must be for those good old boys on the road, and a win at such a high clip in opposing ballparks. That tells you the Baltimore Orioles, not only are they not afraid, they're looking forward to trying to challenge to get on top of Major League Baseball, if that makes sense to you. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 1 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. Runners on first and third. They count for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love it saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. When you're hitting deep at Chavez Ravine in Los Angeles with the Dodgers, everybody knows that baseball is so big in Los Angeles. They won the National League West 11 out of 12 seasons. You may want to say with the great Shohei Ohtani right now leading the Major League Baseball in home runs. They're right there again, knocking on that door. We already know it was ridiculous that the Dodgers had 3 MVPs at the top of their order. The great Mookie Betts as the leadoff man hitting .355. The great Shohei Ohtani, show me $1 billion. $1 billion for one man, that's a lot. But at the same time, he's batting .355. I can bat .355, but, they do it against Major League pitching. But you got to say, the Dodgers, this is the same place that had the great Jackie Robinson. You had the great Tommy Lasorda. And all of a sudden, you got Dodger Stadium. Even though L.A. Lakers is really L.A.'s team, you got the Rams, you got the Chargers, you got the Angels, you got in my opinion, the Dodgers are the second most wanted ticket in Los Angeles after the Lakers at Chavez Ravine. But I got them number 1 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. That's my story. Runners on first and third. The count's full. The pitch, curveball, slug on, in deep, right field, back to the wall, in your life, home run. So that's my story with Big C Sports Podcast. I love bringing it to you because I love baseball as much as I love reparations. Reparations now, reparations forever. Now imagine how we cheer for Major League Baseball teams and they say nothing about reparations. Oh, Big C, there you go again with the reparation stuff. Well, reparations will stimulate the economy. And people know that. It's not anathema to say do the right thing, and doing the right thing is always the right thing to do. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But I just hope, as I was talking earlier with a great guest of mine by the name of Marvell Wilson, has his own blog talk show. He and the great Tim Pool. You can hear it weekdays. I love bringing you Big C Sports Podcast. I love talking about the California Reparations Task Force because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I love talking about RDC and our asset protection. You don't want to leave home without it. Asset protection, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Dr. Boyce Watkins, I follow him. Some people don't, but I do. Dr. Claude Anderson, Powernomics.com. Look at Powernomics.com and see some of the great salient thoughts of the great Dr. Claude Anderson when it comes to reparations and how to get this economy back on track. I really do appreciate it. And for those of you who don't know, as I close and I say reparations now, reparations forever, Google the JUST Act, the JUST Act, a report. It says Germany has taken commendable steps to confront its role as the perpetrator of the Holocaust and to ensure the Holocaust victims and their heirs receive restitution and/or compensation. Germany also honors and remembers the victims of the Holocaust and has worked to cultivate a culture of remembrance. Its restitution measures range from compensating former owners and their heirs for assets wrongfully seized during the Holocaust to making substantial financial contributions to victims' funds and survivors' pensions from 1945 to 2018. The German government paid approximately $86.8 billion in restitution and compensation to Holocaust victims and their heirs. That's important. You got to realize, at the aftermath of World War II, the United States, France, and the United Kingdom, they occupied the areas of Germany that in 1949 became the Federal Republic of Germany, the FRG. In November 1947, the United States military, the government promulgated military law number 59, which became the foundation of the first program of restitution of Holocaust assets. As I tell you next, the United States descendants of chattel slavery, we demand reparations now, reparations forever. Well, that's my story, and I'm taking it. You can Google it. Google it. The JUST Act report. You heard it first on Big C Sports Podcast. As I always tell you on every Big C Sports Podcast, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love start drinking and get behind the wheel of a car and drive. The life you say may be your own, or someone that you love, or someone that somebody else loves. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. You need more leader in your life. What's leader, Big C? Leader is an acronym for love is the answer. If somebody's going to beside your head, I only slapped you because you made me mad. Call 911. If somebody's choking you out, I only choked you because you made me mad. Call 911. If somebody's kicking you, I only kicked you because you made me mad. Don't put up with that crap. Pick up the phone and call 911 because no man, woman, or child should ever have to put up with that crap, and you know it. Don't ever let that happen to someone, especially you. That's my story, and I'm taking with it. Back by a popular demand. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to champion reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. There was no fighter greater than Muhammad Ali. As you know, I love giving praise to my beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandparents, Mama and Pop, my grandparents, Madia and Hezekiah, and I could always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and also coaching all boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always stand, rise, and shine, and always trust and pray to God. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. On my father's side, my grandparents, Albert Curry and Alberta Curry. He was a pastor, he had 3 churches, also owned 2 gas stations in Oakland. I was 8 years old, walking through a hallway, and I was about 10 o'clock at night. I felt somebody touch me on my forehead. She said, what are you doing, young man, going to get some more cookies? I said, what are you doing up, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, what are you doing, young man, looking for some cookies? I said, cookies are baby crap to what I'm doing, Grandma. I'm looking for my reparations. Then a couple of cookies wouldn't help. It wouldn't hurt the matter, if that makes sense to you. But she said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak, and I love doing Big C Sports podcast. Love my grandma with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying develop your mind to a size extent. I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning. When Todd would speak, always saying go forward. I love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors, and 3.5 years from Amaze University. She said at the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast at Salem Media, it was the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. Daisy, you can do anything you want. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always Google, look at newspapers to get stats for Big C Sports Podcast. One day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since, now on 29 podcast platforms. One day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote. He went at the TV and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. Now you can find it on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. And then Big C, with all that wealth and knowledge over the years, like my great-granddaddy coming out of that barn always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Let's get ready to rumble. I love to say welcome to the show. ESPY nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no 3-way teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. I do it all with that gland in the brain called the pineal gland. That unconscious, that gift of nature. The ancients called it the third eye. And that's what I use to broadcast my show. And you can do it too. And now, as I always do, I pay homage to President Abraham Lincoln and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. When they champion reparations now, reparations forever. Come on, you cheer it louder as you're trying to light the beam. I want you to say, reparations now, reparations forever. Come on, you say that louder when the horse won the Kentucky Derby. You cheer it louder for a horse. If you can cheer for a horse, you can cheer for reparations. Say it with me. Say reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.